If you have claustrophobia, The Descent may not be for you. If you don't, you may after watching it. The Descent was directed by Neil Marshall and follows a group of women on a caving adventure. As cramped dark spaces tend to do in movies, their trip quickly turns into a misadventure. We open on Sarah, played by Shauna McDonald, Juno, played by Natalie Mendoza, and Beth, played by Alex Reed, on a whitewater rafting trip. This establishes their active adrenaline junkie lifestyle, along with their friendship, pretty well. Things take a sharp turn and Sarah's husband and daughter are killed in a car accident. Marshall sets the stage quickly and effectively. A big shock like this so early on, after a high-energy moment, is a fantastic hook. We catch up with these three friends a full year later. They've met up with a few of their other friends, Rebecca, played by Saskia Mulder, Sam, played by Mayanna Buring, and Holly, played by Nora Jane Nguyen. Their latest trip is to explore caves in North Carolina's Appalachian Mountains. Juno's the one leading the expedition. No one thinks twice about following their friend into the caves. Unfortunately, Juno decided, without group consensus, to explore an uncharted section of the cave with the idea of having the group be the first ones to do it. Juno turns out to be a lot more slippery than what could be dismissed as a tragic mistake, but we'll get to that in due course. To make matters worse, early on in their trip, a cave-in occurs in a narrow passage. Tensions rise as they realize they need a way out, and tempers rise when they discover that Juno never submitted their intended plan with an outside third party, something that would be very helpful in this exact circumstance. The situation continues to deteriorate as the women look for a way out. As if being stuck in an uncharted cave with no one on the outside knowing you're there wasn't bad enough, the women encounter strange humanoid creatures that have evolved to live in these intense conditions. The movie calls them crawlers. The introduction to these creatures is fantastic. It's not a threat right away, it's not a jump scare, nothing comes out at them immediately. It's just one of the crawlers drinking from a pool of water in a cave. The unexpectedness was scary enough. The crawlers apparently don't agree with my thoughts on their very existence being scary enough. The women are attacked. The group is split, and Holly is killed. Their situation was already serious, but the way this scene is executed makes things feel so real. The trauma is triggered for Sarah. She begins to mentally break down. She starts hallucinating about her lost family from a year previous. The girls find each other again, and it's revealed that Juno, the one responsible for this whole debacle, mortally wounded Beth under the cover of the crawler attack. Juno was also sleeping with Sarah's husband before he died. Sarah does eventually confront Juno for all of the horribleness she's caused, but doesn't kill her. She doesn't save her either. She leaves. Juno's sitting there, wounded in the caves, serving as bait for the crawlers so Sarah can make her own escape. The Descent has tension in nearly every scene. It starts with a bang, setting the tone right away. The stakes are always rising, and the confines the characters are stuck in make the audience feel uneasy, and that's a compliment. The wild ride would have been enough, but the ending is an extra gut punch for the audience. It seems like Sarah escaped the nightmare, with great parallels to her personal internal struggles. She falls into a hole and is hallucinating. She sees her daughter in wide open spaces, indicating that Sarah is dying. But she might be easing into it more than the violent deaths her friends face, so it could be a bittersweet ending. On its release, the movie was met with critical acclaim. The setting, tension, pacing, psychological terror, and the inarguable sense of dread were praised. To keep pouring love into the movie, the entire main cast received accolades for their performances. Shauna McDonald as Sarah and Natalie Mendoza as Juno stand out for the material they were given to work with. A horror movie with an all-female cast is also a rare thing, and this one executed it perfectly. A lot of the retrospectives we've been talking about received a cult following despite lackluster or mixed reviews. The Descent is considered one of the best horror movies of the early 21st century. Financial success followed the audience and critical reception. Made with a modest budget of roughly $6 million, the movie would gross over just $57 million. The movie performed especially well in the UK, where it was produced. Horror movies generally have a dedicated fan base and are graded on a curve. The Descent is proof that there's a wider appeal for the genre when handled properly, and audiences will show up to see a good movie regardless of that genre. Check out this playlist next for more retrospectives.